Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to another fine episode of Last Minute Kickout. I am Pete Titans Creed Nethercoat, joined always by the magnificent bearded duo of one, Mr. Kevin, the Kevin Eva,
Hi.
and one, Mr. John Turbo Finley.
Greetings again.
How are you both doing, you fine gentlemen?
It's an interesting time for wrestling, an interesting time for me.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know yet.
It's the wonderful world of wrestling, Kev. It's always got to be mystical and magical in so many different ways.
As I'm sure both of you will attest, I wish somebody was booking my life better.
I think we all wish that.
Exactly.
Not your life, but our life.
Exactly.
All of our lives.
We all wish we were being booked better in this wonderful program that is life. But
Indeed.
It is what it is, and we move forward, correct?
Absolutely. And today we are talking about SummerSlam.
That was a thing that happened.
It was a thing that happened. What are your general, immediate thoughts on it?
Mine was pretty much one word: consistent. Because this is consistent from what happened in the last WWE pay-per-view that we had. Yeah, in pretty much the same quality, in my opinion, of course.
I thought it was a generally good pay-per-view. A lot of highs, not that many lows. I just wish that all pay-per-views could be that consistent. I get the feeling Kev doesn't really like it as much.
WrestleMania Light was interesting.
It was later, I'll tell you that much.
There's nothing wrong with it being WrestleMania Light, let's be fair.
Actually, no. WrestleMania Light is any of the Saudi Arabia shows.
I have a distinct problem with one of the matches, but we'll get to that.
Oh yes. Oh, I know what you're gonna be talking about later on. It's with your favorite wrestler of WWE.
My favorite wrestler, but it's ironically I'm not unnecessarily annoyed about that.
The person in general.
No, it's not actually the competitors. I mean, we'll get to it, but
yeah.
I enjoyed it for what it's worth. I enjoyed it, but yes. Did you guys watch the pre-show?
I did. I watched the show matches. I did miss out on a couple of key, promo spots essentially that happened during it, but I'm sure you'll talk about them. Maybe.
Who knows? Mr. Kev, did you catch the pre-show or not?
I did not catch the pre-show on this occasion.
Okie dokie. Well, we'll start quickly with Drew Gulak versus Oney Lorcan for the Cruiserweight Championship. Mr. John.
Again, like before, a standard, kind of like cruiserweight altercation between two really good wrestlers. Only Lorcan, obviously, being the striker of the two this time around.
Massive finger.
He knows where to stick it. But no, it was obviously it's what I was expecting from Lorcan, because his work up from NXT then into 205 Live, it's obviously evident. Shame it's not the same caliber as other things, but I could definitely say it was better than the last cruiserweight match that we had on the pre-show. So, in my opinion, anyway.
I think it was because I just started watching NXT as well. You see, so it's one of those things where I watched the number one contender match for this, and I was like, well, this random guy who I've never heard of before isn't going to be winning this anytime soon, are they? So it was kind of like you could tell where it was going to go. Unfortunately,
you had that mindset for a majority of this card Really, you had that kind of
absolutely.
thing. Yeah, I know
with,
this is what
with
this
the
is
exception
happening.
of what, with the exception of one match, I think the entire card was very predictable. But otherwise, it was fun to watch though. Like I think that's the difference. Like even if it is predictable, the matches are fun to watch, and that's the big thing, you know. But yeah, Drew Gulak defended the Cruiserweight Championship. Moving on to Clash of Champions, I'm going to assume he'll defend it against somebody else as well.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
if it's not Jack Gallagher at Clash of Champions, I don't know what they can do to like make the title scene more active and entertaining and whatnot. So
I'm sure they'll work something out.
Push Jack Gallagher more.
That's what I would love to see.
Push him to the moon. When you're at the moon, past the moon.
Saturn?
Aim roughly for Jupiter Saturn territory. Tell him to take an umbrella. It's probably where.
Fair enough. Next, we had some mild storyline increasing with Buddy Murphy facing Apollo Crews, but Buddy Murphy was attacked by Rowan, furthering the storyline of the Roman Reigns, who hit Roman Reigns with a car.
Who done it? Who done it?
Who done it, and why was it Rikishi? This is
Daniel Bryan did it for the people.
He did it for the planet.
Yeah.
For the planet, have a save all from Roman.
But
Reigns.
who knows? We might be all rused in the end. You know, we'll find out soon enough.
What? We might be Roman rused. Rusev. He's not done anything. We'll give it Rusev. Actually,
It's a stretch, but I'll take it.
This whole thing with Buddy Murphy, I love the fact that it just came as a complete accident.
Yeah.
Because he just happened to wander out into the corridor at that time. So they sort of had to do something about it. And they ended up with a pay-per-view match storyline stuff going on and stuff for Buddy Murphy to do. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Indeed.
He was there at the right time. Or
he's in the wrong place at the right time, thus being in the right place.
Yes. To somewhere get off the starting line that he's been stuck at for the last 4 months.
Mm-hmm. Oh dear.
Otherwise, I mean, I don't know. I saw his match versus Roman Reigns on Raw. That was really good to watch. Or SmackDown, sorry.
SmackDown, yeah.
Because Buddy Murphy is a SmackDown superstar now. Apparently, we're getting a lot of cruiserweight stars moving up to the main card now. It seems to be being a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, there we go. But yeah, it was DQ. There we go. We move on. Elias went to perform, but was interrupted by Toronto's own one Mr. Edge, who actually speared him, which was interesting.
Yeah, the spear heard around the world. Well, the second spear here around the world.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people are speculating that he, because he was able to do this to Elias, he might actually make an in-ring return.
So there has been a subsequent interview with Edge post SummerSlam, where he is saying that he does want to return to the ring, and after the surgery that he has had, after a few years, it can become a full recovery and he can return, but it won't be a full-time basis, obviously.
And he's also said during the interview that it's unlikely to happen with WWE because it would be, number one, he'd need to come back. He couldn't possibly do a full-time gig anymore. But also that it's a sort of a Daniel Bryan situation because WWE doctors would sort of just go no.
Yeah, absolutely. Which means that he'd have to, But it really depends if they've locked him into this sort of Legends contract. I hear a lot about these days, especially like with the Undertaker and everybody else.
Well, seeing that they've had their show on the network and whatnot, I'm sure he has been signed into a contract for a number of years. In some capacity, that's probably got to keep him in WWE's books for a wee while yet.
Yeah.
And until that's ended and whatnot, he's probably not going to do anything at all.
But yeah, a couple of years.
I don't expect it anytime soon. Yeah,
couple of years. It's a couple of years down the line. It's a case of seeing there's like a battery of tests and tapping of the spinal fluid and all sorts of things that needs to go on apparently. But hey, if the option's there and if he really wants to take it, he'll take something somewhere. But the fact that he's at the situation where he can actually get offensive in the ring. Remember, not that long ago, it feels like not that long ago, but we had the situation with him, face down on the mat and boot on the back, somebody with a chair raised above his head, and Cena being forced to trying to be forced to back down and save him. Actually hitting an offensive maneuver that's obviously going to take impact on the neck, and being okay with it is a massive improvement.
He'll just become the I don't know, the legend for hire. I imagine he'll just come in and he'll just squash people. He'll be a Rock without a movie contract.
He'll come in a black leather jacket and a black motorcycle helmet, and he'll just spear somebody, and then Rob Van Dam will become champion, and that's how it'll work.
That's it. Moving on to the last match of the pre-show, we actually had Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross defending their newly won WWE Women's Tag Team Championship against the Iconics.
Iconics!
Is it really annoying that I'm actually coming around to one of the Iconics, and I can't remember. I think it's the one.
Just one of them. Well, it is bad when they're a tag team.
So,
just one of them. So you got some Iconic favoring to one.
Yeah.
So
is it the one who is it the one who screams, or is it the one who hollers?
So,
is it Peyton Royce?
I like Peyton Royce's in-ring work, but I like Billy Kay's dragon outfit type thing.
Of course, it had to be the outfit.
If we combine them somehow into one entity,
yeah,
make him do the fusion dance. There we go.
I would actually pay for them to do the fusion dance.
Hey, we got the Bard to do it.
Well, that wasn't the full fusion dance. And remember that time
that
they tried to do the fusion dance and they became the Big Show?
You say that. You say that. There's only one of them now. Maybe it's happened.
Who knows? It was fun. I'm glad to see that they're actually doing something with the Tag Team Championship now for the women's division, rather than just.
Well, I was gonna say it's what was it? Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss have defended it more times than against actual established teams on the WWE roster, more so than the Iconics.
That wasn't really the Iconics.
More faster.
Yeah, that was just down to Vince going, I don't want these belts.
Of course.
Championships ban.
Yeah. Again, they weren't going to lose it immediately straight afterwards. And Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross have done a really good thing of actually building up their friendship or whatever it be together. And I'm sure that'll end in a storyline way down the line when they, decide what they want to do.
Plus, you've still got the stuff bubbling away in terms of, the Boss and Hug connection would technically, I guess, want those back.
Doubtful. I don't think they'll be working together anytime soon.
No.
I think we should move on. I think we should move on to the main card because Kevin has watched the main card, so you can join in. We're starting off with a show with a match which I didn't think was going to be this early, and that was Becky Lynch and Natalya. And I've got to say, for a submission match, this was really fun to watch. Now, I'm not sure if it was because it was so early in the show, but man, I was really into watching this, just being a submission match,
It was. It was definitely a lot of good back and forth between the two, working on each other and whatnot. It just goes to show you how much Natalya can get, a nice, decent work rate match out of anyone. And of course, she was working with Becky Lynch. So yeah, it was only evident that they would actually have a really good, tense showdown of submissions against each other.
I don't get what they're trying to do with Becky Lynch.
Well, what I see her
She's an
as.
asshole.
Yeah, she's an asshole, but she's trying to fire up people to get the best competition out of them.
So,
and after that, you're still an asshole.
They pushed her as a mega heel.
Yeah,
that's what they tried to do, and she got over as a mega heel. So what they did after that is, because she got mega over as a heel, they side switched her to be the female Steve Austin.
Yeah, because Steve Austin was like that back in the day, where he was just like didn't give a damn about anyone. He would just go in, DTA, don't trust.
She's
anyone.
more of a tweener than she is a face or a heel at this point.
But even Austin, when he was a heel, he would give the other sort of guy props, and he would say that you're, because that was part of the thing that so he didn't care, but he would say you might be tough, but I'm still just going to run through you because to me it's just whatever. I didn't get the idea with the promos was great from Becky, only making Natty look really weak in the build up to this thing.
Oh, trust me, it's not as weak as the other person in the other women's title match.
Yeah, that just had no build up at all.
I mean, but they actually brought it round with. It started off being Natty was soppy and everything else, but then just they managed to pull out this like aggressive Natalya, which was really fun to watch.
Yeah.
The other thing I can put it down for is that she was being the full Canadian patriot.
Except that didn't work.
For that. It didn't work, and they shouldn't have made her go out there with a Canadian flag draped across her.
It says something when someone's in their home country and they don't get cheered as much as the other person.
And but the fact that even after the match, I mean, she did one tweet after the match about how I'm talking about Becky here, about how oh yes, thanks for the match and what have you. But everything surrounding that, after that tweet and before that tweet, is still like, I'm the real hero of Canada, I'm this, that, and the other. It's like, really? The crowd throughout the match seemed a bit sort of confused because or very on the fence, let's put it that way, because it felt like the face-heel dynamic switched about 3 different times during the match. It was a strange one. But yeah, aggressive Becky doing because it was set up as the disarmer versus the sharpshooter, but you had the thing where Natalya was going for the sharpshooter all the time, or it was very obvious that things were setting up to the sharpshooter. It was the old, ironically, the old sort of Flair mindset. In that ultimately everything builds up to, in the moves, builds up to when the submission is put on. And then you had Becky sort of breaking out, numerous other submission moves during that opening portion of the match as well. So it wasn't just about that. Both of them were trying to get the submission any way they could. But the aggression factor did make this match. Made it super enjoyable when the actual bell rang.
Yeah, and it was very impressive with the ways that they were putting in the submissions and whatnot, using the ring post, using the ropes. There was no rope breaks in the match because what's the point? You can only win by submission. There was no countouts or disqualifications or whatever. So yeah, 9. I mean, it still worked. Still worked as a match. Granted, the storytelling might have been a little wonky, but it still worked overall.
But yeah, probably Natalya's best match in WWE.
Oh, absolutely. But again, it's getting to the point that having a bad match with Becky is becoming few and far between these days, and I'm not sure if that's because Becky's carrying it or.
Well, she carried bloomin' Lacey Evans for the last 3 months, so.
Somebody had to, apparently. How's life on main event now, Lacey? That's how far she fell.
But overall, it was a really fun match to watch.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. There were some great visuals there from everybody concerned. The fact that you got the fact that also the fact that afterwards the match that Natalya tapped, but it was only because she was like physically injured at that point.
Yeah.
So that technically made us strong, but again after the match, it wasn't it was still like you're just standing over and bad mouthing, and you can make the Steve Austin comparisons till the end of time, but
unfortunately, people will make those comparisons till the end of time because unfortunately that's just the way the business is right now.
Yeah,
like they're literally trying to build the next Steve Austin, the next John Cena. Like it's just unfortunate, but that's the way that the business is going.
Regardless, that image of the sharpshooter in the turnbuckles, that'll stick around for some. That'll stick around for some time to come. Actually, the one I was actually slightly more impressed, actually, not by that one, but by the one that Becky was like under the rope, but her legs were still over the bottom rope, and she was like dangling.
Mm-hmm.
The crowd didn't really pop for it, but I was going just like, oh my god, if she actually she properly cinches back and she's in all kinds of trouble with her just weight dangling like that. That could have been really nasty if Natty had actually just leaned properly back for the ropes and sort of went around. But
yeah, absolutely. I want to get your opinions on what happened next with Goldberg versus Dolph Ziggler, because again, this was something else I wasn't expecting until well later on in the evening.
I think it was actually in the best spot on the card it could be.
Yeah, get out of the way quick and fast. Because it was going to be a quick and fast kind of like thing.
Again, this was also bizarre because it was essentially the anti Undertaker Jeff Hardy ladder match, if you remember that one, because that whole thing was about
about 15 years ago now.
Yeah, a very long time ago, pre everything Jeff, just as he was on the cusp of really sort of moving into that sort of main event Golden Circle. But the whole thing with that match was that Jeff did not expect to win, but he was going to walk out and there was nothing Taker could do about it. And then you had the thing of the heel actually giving the face, props at the end.
Yeah.
Even though the heel was ultimately victorious. In this situation, you had the complete reverse with, nobody in their right mind thinking Ziggler's going to win. Nobody thinking Ziggler's going to beat Goldberg, and then Goldberg's going to annihilate him.
He did surprise us.
Oh
at the
yeah,
start.
that out of nowhere, that super kick out of absolute nowhere, caught the entire arena by surprise, and really got people into the match quick.
It's just a shame that Goldberg kicked out of one.
It's Goldberg, isn't it?
It's Goldberg. Again, it's the whole thing about the insurmountable odds with Ziggler, and a couple of close run things. The crowd was into it fully. Then of course we had somebody somewhere where they were thinking of probably coming up with a list of the dream people to take a spear. Take a Goldberg spear. Put up a list of like people who could take a spear and it would look amazing. Dolph Ziggler would have been in the top 3 of that list because he's Dolph freaking Ziggler. And the man bumps like crazy. He pretty much turned his spine inside out when he took that spear. Oh god, but yeah, it wasn't so much about the match, but the afterwards. He doesn't get Ziggler didn't get a rub from the match. He got a rub afterwards by being this ultra defiant heel and just continuing to take the punishment. Where they're going with it,
it seems to be the direction they're moving Ziggler's character into now. Like, I mean, we could always tell that he's becoming the kind of person that what's the right word for it? Helps out talent now and tries to like help out on the show.
Yeah, workhorse.
Yeah. Actually, I'm curious. What did you guys think of of his promo before the match?
I can't remember it, to be completely honest, at the moment.
Was that immediately before this match?
Immediately, he had the mic before Goldberg came out and said about how you can deny all you want. I am the guy who steals the damn show. I am.
Yeah, it's his typical spiel of him, like it's like I'll be here and
legends come and legends go, but old DZ will steal the show.
Yeah.
Nice little alliteration there. You're just screaming at.
Yeah. Well, he's been doing that for yonks.
I know, but this was proper full on, rage at the crowd. Previously it's been sort of just like cocky and like, yeah, what are you gonna do about it? This is just rage at the crowd. Like you will acknowledge me. You will have no choice but to acknowledge me. It was again felt kind of strange with him being a heel and him showing this sort of degree of bravery in light of Goldberg. And again, Goldberg did exactly the same thing, effectively, that Taker did with Jeff. Sort of came back the final time, picked him up, the pat on the head. Now, whilst Jeff just collapsed with just exhaustion in that match, in this match you had Goldberg doing a two rope get the speed up spear just to finish him off entirely. And even then he wasn't done. Even then he was still rolling around. He wasn't out of it.
No.
But yeah, place on the cards, best place for it. You didn't want that any further on in the card considering everything that was coming up. It was a good showpiece for the first hour.
Yeah, so the next match after that was the United States title match of words. AJ Styles versus Ricochet, accompanied by the Club.
The OC.
Or the OC.
The original club. The only one that matters. Not saying who they're referring to at all. WWE. Could be anybody.
Yeah.
But,
Sega's The Club. Clearly it's that.
This match wasn't anything to write home about, and mostly because we had it twice already. So I don't know. I wasn't really looking forward to this match per se, because like we'd already had it on free TV.
Yeah, but when we had this match at SummerSlam, do you think it was a bit more, I
don't feel like there was anything different on the actual match itself that we didn't have before.
All right. I personally thought, granted, they busted out on some newer stuff. Ricochet being a little more acrobatic and with his balancing act on the OC at one point.
Oh yeah, the stepping stones into the Hurricane Rana. That was really nice.
Yeah,
that was really nice.
And the various counters and whatnot, even leading to the finish and whatnot. I was quite smitten by this match.
I mean,
not all matches are for everybody, to be fair.
This match, like I say, this match did have a lot, and it did build up in terms of the counters, especially from the previous stuff that we'd had.
Yeah, and Ricochet was always on top form as well.
Oh yeah, Ricochet on top form with, I don't know, some sort. What was he wearing? It was like a combination Iron Man. And,
he was Nightwing.
Was he
this time
Nightwing?
around. Yep, he was apparently Nightwing.
Oh, okay.
That's not what I got from his gear at all. But
I thought it was. It looked like a combination Iron Man, Black Panther to me, but there we go. He needed to come out with a couple of sticks. He was good at that, and then he could just beat up the OC with the sticks.
You got all Steve Blackman on him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Good times when Steve Blackman just poured out the top of the sticks. I just started beating the living hell out of somebody with some sticks.
yeah, makes sense. Just do it.
Yeah. Have him actually come out to Steve Blackman's music. In fact, get rid of Ricochet and just have Steve Blackman. Steve Blackman, everybody, versus AJ Styles. Make it happen.
I'm surprised he has never made a return.
Where is Steve Blackman?
He's being a bounty hunter somewhere.
He's a bounty hunter these days. Yeah.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you
tried to get a Dog the Bounty Hunter show off the ground, and it didn't work. So
you poor bastards who've got Steve Blackman up. Oh, you got the. We outrun them. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
But no, the match, I enjoyed it myself. It was really really good match. It's what I was looking for, obviously.
Yeah. I sort of see both your viewpoints on this, because it was the sort of next step on, and you've got that athleticism as you always have when you've got AJ and Ricochet, and they're really starting to come into their own a bit. You can see them gelling a lot better now that they've had a few matches under their belt. At the same time, in terms of content and structure, it did feel a bit Rory.
Rory?
Raw-like match.
Mm-hmm.
It felt a little bit. It was an odd.
It felt just felt like it was just content we already had. If they just didn't keep the singles match and just kept the singles match for pay-per-view rather than giving it away, especially for the title change they did as well.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, when it comes to Raw, definitely a lot. It really feels like someone's just sat down with Raw versus SmackDown and is just playing GM mode and go, right, that's a good match. That'll stick. We'll put that on the live show. Just what it just feels like.
God damn it, Xavier Woods! What have we told you about that?
But yeah, mixed feelings. But weren't going to see AJ drop the belt anytime soon. He needs to.
Unless they were going to hot shot the WWE United States title back again.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, me and Turbo in the predictions. Hey, remember the predictions, everybody? That didn't go well for me. But imagine, but we did. That was just a topic of discussion, like whether or not they would actually stick with this damn title in one place for a while. And it turns out post SummerSlam, yeah, they're going to stick with that. They're just going to hot shot the Raw Tag Team titles around instead.
It's the easier one, so I suppose.
Oh god, I don't know what they're thinking of doing with that.
Who knows?
But yeah, it was a very okay match.
It was okay. I just wasn't excited for it. Next match, Bayley defending the SmackDown Women's Championship against Ember Moon.
I felt so sorry for these two ladies.
I know. This was terrible.
It was. It
could be so much better.
Well, I don't think they've had much chance to actually properly wrestle each other, which really showed. Because in the build-up, it was like all tag teams and backstage and shit, and they hadn't really had a chance to, even on NXT, because that was the whole. Because they brought it up in the commentary, it was that it was Bayley in NXT was somebody that Ember Moon looked up to, but they didn't really cross swords then, because when Ember was coming in, Bayley was on the way out, and there was no heat. Crowd wasn't invested, and why should they be? Because there's been no proper build-up for this. Ember they had a thrown together tag team match as the last, is the go home, which Ember then took the pin for.
It was obvious with the build to this match
Yeah.
that Bayley wasn't losing the title.
It was,
I was trying to be hopeful for
yeah.
the title change for Ember Moon because she needed this after all the shit she was going through, but nope. They just wanted to stick it with Bayley, and granted, I'll commend the finish of the match where the key point to seeing is that Ember Moon did not hit the Eclipse on Bayley, thus saving, again.
Yeah, we're keeping the Eclipse as the thing that you don't kick out of.
Yeah,
and that's the thing that's still a threat.
And the belly to Bayley, or Bayley to belly, even from the second rope onto the floor. Obviously, a nice, devastating move to stop, Ember Moon.
It wasn't even
overall.
It was a proper belly to belly throw as well. It wasn't like a normal one.
But overall, the match itself just not the best that these two could have brought out in each other, and the build-up obviously didn't help it. So
they need more time in the ring together because it just felt like there wasn't really any chemistry, and that's not their fault, No. But what they had was pretty good. We got some nice moves. Was it this one where she busted out or am I getting mixed up with the previous one where Bayley busted out the submission, like the deathlock?
I think that might have been in the
last
previous
one.
Yeah.
She's I think both of them are sort of bringing in some new stuff. There was like the weird twisting knee thing that Ember did that you thought missed initially until you actually saw it on the replay and actually saw what she was doing. It was a really weird move. Need some house show time.
As I've said before, they just need to make a new 205 Live, which is literally just a women's hour, and they can actually, put fucking Hunter in charge of that, get some decent storylines going and everything else, and you can actually have reasons why women are doing shit.
Yeah. Maybe Evolution can spin off as its own thing.
Exactly. Evolution could be the show name.
Exactly.
Let's move on to Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon.
Kevin Owens,
Elias,
and his giant pop,
and with Elias as a special guest enforcer.
Huge pop.
Oh yeah,
it's Canada, isn't it? So.
Well, yeah, he is a Canadian boy. Yeah.
I think it was that with the added bonus of beat the crap out of Shane McMahon, please.
Yep. I think many people wanted this to be quite the match and whatnot, and the storytelling was there, obviously. Shane was trying to goat Kevin into getting himself counted out with Elias outside and all that, and trying to get himself DQ'd with a chair. And like, I loved the point where Kevin Owens had the chair, and Shane was just in his kind of like idle animation. It was like.
Just
doing
everything, all the stuff. It was good.
Well, it was. I don't know. It was fun to watch and fun to see the story progress, but I didn't really think there was a lot of substance to this match. Again, I think if they had actually put a stipulation for Shane on the line as well, the match would have had more interest to it.
Yeah,
but it just fell into that standard thing of. Because it was just Owens going to retire, going to leave, put his career on the line, and we all know that he's signed like another multi-year deal. We know that he's not leaving anytime soon, so there's nothing really on the line at all in the match.
Yeah, they just want to build up this storyline more, so that way we can finally have Kevin Owens put Shane McMahon out of commission at the tail end of this and whatnot, because it's like it's leading to it. And I'm expecting it to, be the case, at the end, eventually. Whether or not
the title of best in the world we put on the line. That's what's going to happen. Oh dear. Actually, you mentioned about how Shane had nothing on the line. Mm-hmm. I actually really liked that about the match. Bizarrely, I liked that
because he had nothing to lose.
I liked that in the build-up, we had this thing with Kevin Owens, and it's just like, it's like you put this on this, like you lose. So yeah, but I want you to. Okay, fine. I want you to put this on the line though, and Shane just going, well, no.
Yeah, no, I really liked that promo of it.
Yeah, that was because you had this thing where Owens just basically went, shit. Why would Shane? There's no reason why Shane would.
Exactly. It's just that my only problem going into the match is that you know who's going to win.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's my only problem with it. Like, if it turned out that they actually did this career on the line and somebody loses at some point, then it'll be an absolute shock because... it's unexpected, but if you're even a little bit smarky and know what's going on behind the scenes, then
you would know what the outcome was.
Exactly.
So, yeah. I'm half expecting that to be Shane's career goes on the line, and then like Shane substitutes somebody in, like he forces the Miz back in to bring that full circle, and then if the Miz loses, he says that the Miz is fired instead, or something like that. Because when's Miz's child coming along? Second one.
Probably closer to the end of the year, I think.
He's going to end up having some time off soon, isn't he? At some point, Miz.
Maybe.
But it was the entertainment was all in what was going on in and around the match, as opposed to the wrestling in this one. This is a sports entertainment over the wrestling part, but that was fine. What it was.
It then leads us on to the third legend appearance of the evening of Charlotte versus Trish Stratus.
Go ahead, Kev.
Is this Kev's match that he's not a fan of?
Here we go.
Citizens of Toronto. Hi. You really have no fucking clue what awesome is, do you? You have absolutely no fucking clue as to what an awesome match is. And for a fantastic town, a fantastic city that's seen such amazing matches down the years, is an indelible part of the wrestling landscape within Canada, within North America, and within the world. What we saw was not awesome. It just wasn't. Something. It was bad. So we had obviously this kind of came out of nowhere. This match. It's the old thing about Trish is always taken. The thing is, if you go to anything relating to WWE, you always have your gear with you regardless. She said this before. But this is suddenly this became Trish's last match, and she's going out there. She's rusty, which is fine. Again, she's not wrestled since Evolution, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it would have been, since we mentioned that earlier.
They had a tag match, but she didn't really do anything.
Yeah, exactly. It was one of those situations, and suddenly we've decided that she's got to face Charlotte. Now, admittedly, Charlotte's not had anything to do for
that was the whole point of the storyline they were trying to make, that she hasn't had
anything to do. Well, shucks. And just hurl her at Trish Stratus. It was fine. Now, since we mentioned her earlier, and you guys know I'm a fan of Natty's work. Mm-hmm. I've said this many times. Even I will say that Natalya is pretty awful on the mic. But Natalya's worst thing is when she's in a match, she'll end up like saying the same taunt or line over and over again.
Yep.
You'll go back to any of her matches previously, and she'll just pick on one thing, and she'll just keep saying it over and over again.
I've noticed.
She's like a creative wrestler without enough voice recording lines. You know? Charlotte, throughout the entire goddamn match, kept she said 3 things, all right, throughout the entire. It's like, oh, is this Trish Stratus? Is this Trish Stratus? Is this Trish Stratus? Is this Trish Stratus? She said, and then when she finally got hit or something, it like jogged the record onto a new track, and then just started going, oh, over and over and over again. Charlotte's moves weren't good. I'm sorry, they just weren't. It wasn't crisp. It wasn't good. Jesus Christ, we now know that Trish Stratus can do a better figure 8 than her. I'm sorry. It was a pointless match. It didn't do anything. We just randomly decided to feed Trish Stratus' career as a career-ending match to Charlotte, because Lord alone knows she needs more accolades.
I guess, yeah, that is a valid point, but you can't have Trish going over in this match.
No, you can't. I mean,
because you already went over it the last match beforehand.
You could have done if you were going to do like the set of 3, like I said in the predictions, and have like Trish sneak the first one, Charlotte getting the second, and then Charlotte winning a rubber match, you know, in a fashion.
Are you implying a best of 3, sir?
I'm applying basic booking knowledge and basic booking common sense in terms of actually making things more meaningful.
But this wasn't a basic scenario.
No, it wasn't. But it's just like, I mean, you know, if you're looking for people that do stuff. I mean, you could have brought the whole Mickie James thing full circle and have Mickie retire Trish once and for all, and that's a fantastic storyline.
I guess that might have been the idea at one point. You never know.
It wouldn't have been.
She's out doing.
Yeah, if she wasn't out. But you know, you never know these things.
I'm sorry, but it was clunky. I'm not going to say it was bad, but it wasn't good. It wasn't exactly good, and it was by no freaking way awesome. It just wasn't.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. The match wasn't that hot and whatnot. It wasn't it. And I've had my fair share of problems with crowds, you know, chanting "This is awesome" to a match that I wasn't liking before. So I can definitely understand your grievance on that.
Do you know what else sets this apart? All right. What if I told you that if it had gone like 6 seconds longer, it would have been the longest match of the night. The next one went to 16 minutes and 45 seconds. This went to 16 minutes and 40. Somehow. "16 minutes and 40 seconds of that."
Well, Frank, it must have been all of a blur then, because I can't remember it going as long as that.
Thanks to cagematch.net again for the timings on these things. But yeah, Kofi Randy went 16:45. Charlotte Trish went 16:40, and the next one down is the Universal title match at 13 minutes 25.
Wow.
And we'll talk about that shortly. Let's move on to slightly happier things, because I'm sure Kev would like to not talk about this match anymore.
Go away.
Kofi Kingston against Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. Let's talk about how much of a shit show this match was.
It was okay to start, but then it just went downhill like every other Randy Orton match. Why does everyone have this thing? It's like, oh, this is gonna be an awesome match. It's Randy Orton. We've seen it before, where Randy Orton eventually just does not give a shit during the match. At a certain point,
man's made enough money over his lifetime. He doesn't care anymore.
Of course, he doesn't care. You know, I'm just wondering why everyone thinks that it will be good because they have this storyline going in. It's like, even I've seen it multiple times, and I can't believe people thought it was going to be any better.
We've also had this story multiple times, including with Randy Orton, bizarrely enough, because it is sort of touched on the Cena Randy stuff a bit. But also, didn't we have this whole thing about, you know, trying to beat somebody up in front of the wife and kids and threatening the kids, and because if you squint at Randy Orton, he kind of looks like Samoa Joe.
Control V, Control C. Aha!
Paste and copy. What?
Control C, Control V.
He said it the other way around. I was just like,
oh wait, whatever.
What?
Whatever.
I think.
Okay, Control Z, Control C, Control
V. I think the way they could have redeemed this match with the ending that they tried to do with it would have been for Randy to punt kick to end. I think that would have redeemed it slightly.
Mm. The double count out felt, again, it seems to be my word of the pay-per-view, just felt weird. That was a slightly strange decision. Also, it does mean that we're going to get another match with this.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Joy. It'll be like some special stipulation, like no count out or last man standing or some stupid bollocks.
It'll be a cage match.
Quite possibly.
And
Kofi
then
does
it
a
won't
boom
end
drop off the
because
top.
Guess what's after Night of Champions? It's Hell in a Cell. Guess where those two are going. It was okay until the ending. I thought the match was all right until literally the ending. But Kofi's stuff as champion is starting to grate on me a little bit.
Well, it can be a little waning at times, and we kind of said this during the predictions and whatnot. But
he's just gone from super passionate, I want my chance at the title, to cocky, arrogant face, which doesn't suit Kofi when he's holding a singles title. And it's just tiresome.
When he's fired up, and in the match we had this as well. We were marching around and screaming just like about the whole stupid thing. In fact, Orton said it as well at one point during the match when they were on the outside. He sort of the mic barely picked it up, but when Orton was standing over the top of Kofi, and he just went stupid.
Yeah.
But Kofi getting fired up. Kofi's really entertaining when he's like full pelt, you know, anger, vicious Kofi. But the rest of it is sort of caught up in their own WWE's own holding pattern of sort of having challengers who aren't necessarily the main challengers for the belt. They're just sort of like monster of the week.
Yeah.
And the giant snake bursting out of the stage we had with the AR, which looks so bad.
It's better than when Randy was walking over the snake to get down to the ring at WrestleMania.
Oh yeah.
But speaking of Monster of the Week, let's move on to the penultimate match on the card of Finn Balor versus the Fiend. Not Bray Wyatt the Fiend, not Bray Wyatt as the Fiend, just the Fiend. That entrance was magnifique.
I will definitely agree. This was like the talking point for the whole SummerSlam, was the Fiend's debut. And what a debut. Granted.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, granted, gotta give a lot of kids a lot of nightmares, but we don't care. We're adults here. We love this shit. This is something new. This is something that will push the envelope. You know? And that's what they need.
Isn't it sad and rather telling that the best entrance and debut to a character we've had with WWE in years and years. Entirely the brainchild and effective creative control in terms of shaping this stuff. The wrestler.
Yeah.
The wrestlers don't come up with this stuff. He's come up with all of this stuff.
A man who has complete creative control over his character is actually really good.
Turns out it's really, really good. You know, they had designs for the mask. They had designs for the lantern, and we'll get to the bloody lantern in a minute. And they just weren't right. Bray went out to find somebody. He literally went out to find somebody that he thought could do this. He did research and stuff to find somebody who could properly put what was in his head on paper. He was throughout the entire process of like creating the mask and stuff, and the story and the world. It's all Bray. My God.
I believe the person that made the lantern is the same person that made the Fiend's mask as well.
Is indeed. He's come along and said a number of things since the debut and since SummerSlam. About how, you know, a lot of stuff was with working on the mask to make it sort of more organic, more moving, something that could be, you know, not like, you know, the likes of Mick Foley's Mankind mask is a very good example of something that he had to get used to over time, and it just felt horrible from the get-go. This is completely designed to be something that Bray can wrestle with, get banged up while wearing. It's going to be comfy. He can breathe. He's got vision. But it's still, and it's super durable as well, apparently. So
it's going to be interesting to see how they do. It looks like they're keeping the Fiend to be appearing every now and again. And I'll tell you what's meant to be coming up. Is the Undertaker's meant to be making an appearance on SmackDown? I really hope the Fiend just comes out and just ruins him. And, you know, it eventually builds up to have a proper WrestleMania match that Bray Wyatt and The Undertaker should have. And I really hope the Fiend properly retires him. I really do.
After all the attacks that the Fiend has been putting onto the legends, it's shaping to be the case.
Yeah. Also, you've got the thing about the mandible claw, and we know from Undertaker has a history of being, you know, weak to the mandible claw. Nobody has more victories over the Undertaker with a specific move than Mankind with the mandible claw. That was a huge thing during that particular storyline, was that, you know, Taker was pretty much
in your house saga.
The in your house stuff. Taker was pretty much bulletproof except for the mandible claw. So that's something that could be done again. And now that it's officially the Fiend's move, he took it off Mick Foley. He didn't exactly ask.
Took it by force.
So, yeah, some really good stuff. Again, very vicious. In terms of the atmosphere felt so different in the match.
It did.
Everything felt that there was a threat. Every move, the neck snap.
I think that was a little. I was gonna say it was pretty much not needed in the match.
That was not needed. But even the coach was like, oh, "Gee, whoa."
Yeah, because it kind of like defeated the purpose because Finn was able to kind of like fight back a little bit afterwards after that next snap, which doesn't make any sense in terms of storytelling. But regardless, yeah, it was like Bray having the psychology of, like, you know, it's like he's not only like wanting to as the Fiend, he's wanting to destroy and hurt Finn Balor and whatnot and dominate him and whatnot, but he's also at times he's fighting with himself. He's looking at his hands that has hurt and healed.
Yeah, he's still going back. He's still going back to that, and it was very notable that when Finn got his little rally, it was after that point where he was sort of fighting with himself and sort of started to slip back into Bray. In terms of the mannerisms and the moves and stuff, and it was at that point that the Fiend was weak, was weaker, and was able to get and Finn was able to sort of get a brief sort of rally together. So that's interesting that they're sort of taking that aspect into the matches as well.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I don't know. I still think that it's going to be the easiest way to just defeat him is just get a super soaker full of water from the Lake of Reincarnation and just go.
Maybe
easily done. Congratulations.
If the Hardys are even going to stay with WWE at this
Good
point.
question.
Mm-hmm.
Right, we move on to the final match, and the only one I thought was going to go differently to how we actually got the proper result. Brock Lesnar, accompanied by Paul Heyman, defending his Universal Championship against Seth Rollins.
Christ, and I thought this was going to go for an hour.
Absolutely.
How early this match...
Before we do that, sorry. Yeah, Lantern. Sick.
Yeah.
Catching flies in his mouth, indeed.
Fireflies
in his mouth, exactly. Just the taking that lyric, taking that imagery, putting it all together with this.
I think it's just meant to be another bit of imagery, because the entire Firefly
YouTube unsafe imagery.
The entirety of the Firefly Funhouse is all about previous Bray incarnations.
Absolutely.
So the Lantern being old Bray.
Old Bray's severed head.
Well, he did cut it off of that cardboard.
It would be interesting to see if the next time we see the Fiend, he has like Balor's head as the Lantern.
Yeah, no, I don't think that'll happen.
Nah.
Have him come out with Taker's head after he beats Taker. That would be funny.
Well, actually, for the next time, maybe. Well, he didn't really defeat the demon, but maybe the demon's head as Latin would have been. Thing. But anyway,
they can do a few things with it, can't they? If they really want to.
Who knows? We'll find out sometime. But anyway, the main event, and I was worried because I thought that this match was going to go on for like 30 minutes because of how short we were on the main card, because it was only like 3.5 hours or somewhere around that time stamp for the main show, which normally would have run for like 4+. So it was like, okay, this is gonna be a bit awkward for a Brock Lesnar match going over more than 10 minutes. But no, it was just basically, hey, you want a repeat of what happened at WrestleMania? There you go. I seriously didn't think. You
seem to have forgotten that we used Brock to put over Seth, so here it is again.
Except this time, Seth is a bit more broken this time. Well, I wouldn't say broken. It's like a bit more hurter than the last encounter.
It was
and doesn't know how to sell. Seriously. What's wrong with him? Every time he has a injury, he's like, he never tends to sell it that well.
Well, he starts selling it, and then he remembers he has to do a series of dives to the outside, and of course he's perfectly fine during those.
Oh, the crowd's not on my side. Better do a big pop. Wait, aren't I supposed to be selling this? Never mind.
Oh.
But hey, at least the crowd was happy with it. At least, and again, we don't have Lesnar holding hostage the title again.
On the negative side, that does mean we basically gave Brock the Money in the Bank briefcase, and then they just sort of went, "Oh shit, we need to get Brock. We need to somehow get rid of Brock having the briefcase."
Yeah,
it's very wasted.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, it should have been the case. Yeah, I mean, they wanted to do the whole, he'll cash it in after Seth has been tired out after a match and make Lesnar the evil heel. But really, it could have just worked better if he just said, look, I'm a professional. I professionally put this contract. I'm going to cash it in for SummerSlam. I want to be in the main event. I want to do this and that and be like the intimidating businessman per se, with Heyman there. And have it set up that way, and have Seth be the champion going in as an injured champion, and then be able to overcome the odds and defend and whatnot. But no, we needed to make Lesnar the massive heel, and have him come in as champion, and let Seth do it all over again and be the Beast Slayer again, to emphasize he is the Beast Slayer.
Well, that was the whole rhetoric behind it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, the victory at WrestleMania was in doubt because he used the weaponry and everything else. This time he just beat him clean.
Let's hope that this reign is not as lackluster as the previous one.
And less Baron Corbin.
He's going off to become King of the Ring. He's fine.
King Corbin.
Bow the knee to the bully bastard.
Indeed. But yes, I think that's at the end for the card, and we look forward to All Out is the next show that we'll be talking about.
Mm-hmm.
AEW's All Out. And
where you two will be going head to head on predictions.
No, where I will be defending my belts cleanly, decently, and with no problems. Because as we all know, I am the king of predictions.
He's won once.
He's won once. He would have beat you. He would have beat you at SummerSlam, both of you, by the sound of it.
If you had the confidence to do it.
It's not about having the confidence to do it. I didn't need to prove it. You had to decide between you who was going to take me on one-on-one.
God.
Well, we'll find out.
Listen to Vicini over here. Like, I can best you physically, and you're no match for my brain.
I mean, that's very true. I can't best you physically, and you are no match for my brain.
God, just use some iocane powder on him, John, and just do away with him. Anyway.
But yes, we will be back for All Out predictions, myself and Mr. Turbo, and then
we're not doing scores for.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second. It's helpful because it's buying me time to decide what the heck I'm going to give this thing.
That'll be the next time we're around, ladies and gentlemen. And since Turbo seems to want to do scores so badly, Mr. John, you can score first.
Simple. I said, what did I say for the last one? 8?
Can't even remember.
I think it might have been 8. I'll give this an 8 again. Because like I said, it was consistent with how it was last time, where we had some decent kind of like message, but we had some mistakes here and there. So, I'll say 8.
Pete, what do you think?
I think it was a splendid card, if not predictable. From what I've heard, they cut a lot of the stuff off of the card because they thought it wasn't going to be made justice on the card, or they just didn't think it actually had a fitting on the card. Both of which are okay reasons. The one about not making certain matches feel like they've got enough time to show themselves being the better one. But I don't know. Solid 7. Take away some of the predictability out of the card. It could be the card could have been a solid like 9, but it's predictability. Sorry, it just brings it down.
There's something about WWE at the moment. It has done for a while. Just feels like a chore watching.
It's because there's too much of it.
I don't know what it is, because I know when doing this that I have to watch the pay-per-view. In doing that feels, when it comes to WWE, it feels like a chore. When it comes to AEW stuff so far, it feels like it's something I really want to do.
Until they get to TV.
Until we get to TV, we don't know. But it's one of those things where it's just like, okay, where do we score it? Because versus my personal enjoyment of it versus me knowing that there were really good matches in it. Yeah. I'm going to give it a 6.5.
It's fair enough.
There was good stuff there, but some of it didn't hold my interest all the way through, and some of it was a bit up its own arse.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think that's about it for today's card. Mr. Turbo, where can they find you on the internet?
Of course, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at TurboXLR, as well as checking my gaming live streams over on twitch.tv/TurboDrive Live every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday at 7 p.m. UK time.
Mr. Kevin, where can they find you on the internet?
YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. Last minute continue. On Twitter, you can find the entirety of the parent channel, the gaming channel, on Twitter at lastmincontinue, and myself personally at the Kevin Eva. For the entirety of We Free for LMKO, please follow us on Twitter at Faces in Peril, none of which have been made into a lantern as yet.
Not yet. And I'm definitely not a face. Clearly heel. You can find me on my personal Twitter at Titans Creed. You can find all my gaming related stuff if you don't want to listen to me babble on about nonsense 99% of the time at Gaming Phoenix. You can find some content up on the YouTube channel of my personal one at youtube.com/Project Phoenix Productions. And you can also find me on Twitch 5 to 7 days a week on twitch.tv/Project Phoenix Productions. That's it, I think. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching and or listening. If you've watched us on YouTube or if you have caught us on iTunes, Spotify, everywhere and anywhere a podcast could be. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care.